My name's Shania Steves. I'm 27 years old. I grew up in Aurelia, well, just south of Aurelia. It's in Brecken, so I was on a farm. Grew up out on a farm out in Brecken, so Brecken is just south of Aurelia. And yeah, it's actually quite nice out there. I have 14 brothers and sisters. I am the youngest out of all 14 of them. But our birth mother is out in North Bay. The birth dad passed away 3 years ago. But yeah, we don't really talk to the mom much. Father's background, he's full-blooded Native. So he's status Native from Chippewas or Rama First Nations. The mom, she's British from like Hope, BC. But I was able to get status cards because of who my father is and how much of a percentage of Native he has in him. They separated when I was a very young age. I think they were even separate before I was born because shortly after I was born, my birth mom would have to call the birth dad to set up a visit with him for him to be able to see me. But anytime she would set up a visitation for him to see me, she'd have the cops called on him because they had a no contact. And I had seen him get like brutally tackled to the ground quite a few times, and I guess I grew up with a bit of a fear about that towards like law enforcement, and that fear eventually turned into a little bit of frustration and anger. But I've gotten over that though. Well, they would taser him, they'd beat him and stuff with the baton, and then they'd actually tackle him to the ground. And I was just a really young kid at this time when I seen this. I was about 2 to 3 years old, and it was very hard to see as a kid. Well, because there was a no contact order between my birth dad and my birth mom due to all the domestic violence and stuff between them. But that didn't mean that she didn't want him to see me, because if she didn't want him to see me, she wouldn't have called to schedule visitations, right? I remember it was very nice. It was a 100-acre farm. It was through my adoptive family that I came into growing up on a farm. It was out in Brecken. It was really nice. I remember having a lot of fun ATVing with my stepdad. Yeah, we'd go ATVing through the hay fields and stuff. Yeah, it was really fun. Well, I never really told my mom this, but I grew up with a sexually abusive stepdad, and it's a very, very emotionally touchy topic that I'm still coming to terms with peace on. Anytime when I was a child, after my mom and dad would send me off to bed, during my dad tucking me into bed and stuff, he would always like molest me and stuff. It was a very brutal thing to just remember, and it's hard for me to even still talk about, but I still remember the last fight that my mom and dad had. It was a little bit later in the night, but my mom caught my dad in the midst of touching me and stuff when I was going to bed, and she kind of like just lost it. She started slapping him and stuff, but they actually ended up going with a divorce claim through that time. But
do you still remember the abuse starting from, how old were you?
I was between 4 and 7 years old. 2 of my other brothers and 1 of my sisters for sure had endured abuse as well through foster care. That's my sister Crystal, my brother Josh and Kyle, and myself. We're all system kids. Like, we were all thrown into the foster care and stuff, and abused between home and foster care.
You said your stepfather died when you were 9?
Yes.
Died by
Pulmonary fibrosis. It was scarring in the lungs.
okay. So after that, how do you describe your life?
It was very systematically confused, I guess. I ended up going into foster care after that, and from that I grew up in the foster care from age around 11 till about 16 years old.
So how's your life from 11 to 16, the foster care family?
It's all over the place. I got bounced between anywhere from Cedar Heights out in like Mono, Orangeville area, all the way to like Lindsay and Oakwood.
So the foster system is not a family; it's a different.
Yeah, it's more like respite care, I guess.
Yeah. Can you describe more details about the foster care?
It was just kind of like it was never like a settled place. Like I was all over the place, and within that, I guess it kind of tore any comfortability of like sitting in one place for like a home, I guess you could say. Yeah. Before I left home, I guess I was okay-ish aside from the sexual abuse from my stepdad, but other than that, me and my mom, we would do gardening and stuff. We'd go to the local farmers market every weekend, load up the truck every morning, and then we'd go sell our vegetables and stuff. I came up with the name for the gardening thing, Kitigon. It means garden in Ojibwe.
You said you left home when you were 17 years old, right?
Yeah.
Do you still remember the details about what happened that day?
Me and my mom, we got in a fight because she had caught me smoking in the house. She yeah, she just said, well, under my roof, you're gonna either abide by my rules in my house or pack your stuff and leave. So I chose to pack my stuff and I left. I've been homeless for about 10 years. I've been camping officially for about 6 to 10 years, yeah. I've been camping there. I love it there. Milligan's Pond, it holds a very, very spiritual and emotional attachment for me. I've had a lot of friends and a lot of past loves that have died there. It's difficult, especially in the winter when you need to go anywhere to stay warm, because if you have a right setup and you just don't want to move. But it's very discriminatory, I guess, for other people. Like other people look down upon like campers and stuff like that, especially throughout Milligan's Pond, because apparently Milligan's Pond was scheduled to be zoned like for zoning. They were gonna demolish the whole forest, but they actually can't do that because there is native burial grounds there. There's been about 4 or 5 different people that I've known that I've actually found passed away that have overdosed in the pond. 2 in which I was in a relationship with, and the other ones were just best friends of mine. I was in a relationship with a guy named Matthew D'Ambrosio. I fell in love with him, and he actually had feelings for me too. But we both acknowledged that we had feelings for each other, but we decided not to ever really take the relationship any farther than friendship. But he died when I found him dead. It was actually Halloween, October 31st. Fuck. It was a hell of a day, man. I was having a bad day, and I went back to my tent. I was sitting there. I was getting high, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear a girlfriend of mine. She's yelling, "Help! Anyone! does anyone have Narcan? She comes up to my tent and she says, I almost hesitate to answer, but I answer anyways. I was like, yeah, I have Narcan. She's like, who's it for? Like, Matt. She started to say the letter M, and all I did was I jolted out of my tent. I had like 9 Narcan kits, 1 in each arm, 1 in each pocket. I booked it up to Matt's camp, but Matt was already gone. He was blue and purple. I was doing CPR on him for 2 hours straight. He just wouldn't come back.
Do you still remember what he was using at that time?
He was using crystal meth, and fentanyl was laced in his bowl.
Crystal meth and fentanyl.
Somebody laced his bowl of crystal with fentanyl, and it's so I was hoping that I was able to go within the next upcoming month or so. So there's no availabilities for the GWEC program as of currently, but upcoming there is a couple of openings in a different program, and that's out in Oshawa or Ottawa.
Oshawa.
Oshawa. There's another native program, so I'm thinking of either going there or sticking with GWEC. But I like GWEC because there's more physical activities to do. Like there's more physical activities such as like hunting. You can hunt there, or you can like go canoeing or fishing, and you can even do stacking wood and stuff. Just if I have like a lot of like activities like that, then I can distract myself and adjust my routine to a different thing, and then I guess I won't do as much doping if I change my routine, because
Yeah, my question is, what happened in your life that you want to not using drugs, not have this kind of life anymore?
I don't want my son to have to go to school one day and tell his teacher and his friends that his mom is a part-time prostitute / drug addict. I don't want that. That's not what I want for my kid. I don't ever want to have to hear my kid say that. I've been there once before. I liked it, but I wasn't ready for the program itself. This time I am ready.
That time you didn't stay, only visit.
Yeah. I got kicked out because of lack of impulse control. But I'm really ready this time. Which reminds me, I'm still supposed to meet up with her.
What time?
Before 5 for sure.
Yeah, I'll drive you there, don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish I could have chose my kid over drugs, but everybody has their weaknesses, and my kid is my kryptonite. Because drugs have led to me losing everything. A lot of that loss I've chose it, but I chose to put aside my ability to be a parent because I wasn't ready to be a mom. I was scared, and I ran. I chose to hide behind drugs rather than accept my duties and responsibilities as a mom. I was 21 when I had my kid, and I chose a crack pipe over my own kid, and that led to me choosing crystal meth, and then eventually choosing fentanyl because the crystal wasn't that right numbing agent, and there was a lot of guilt that I have. I've seen him, I think, twice in the whole entire 5 years he's been alive.
Only 27, right?
Yeah.
Very young. Do you have any dream about your future? when you get out of the rehab?
I wanted to open up my own type of, like, I guess a family restaurant. I still do want to do it. I think I'm actually going to do it. I have my eye on a little spot out in Barrie. So the place has been for lease over on Penetang Street. I want to snag that spot and open up the pub there. 'Cause it's right by a laundromat too, so it's kind of in a good area. There's a laundromat, there's a Circle K. So I think it'd be a good spot.
Beautiful. Do it. Yeah.
I want to. I think I'm going to.
Have you ever loved someone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much do know that I've loved one person, truly loved him, but him and I, we just fire and ice, and it's just an everyday battle with him and I can't do it. So I let him go, and I slowly started to move on, but within that, my ex had introduced me to a guy, and he's the guy that I'm with currently. He's actually amazing. I love him very much.
He's an amazing person, right?
He is. I love Greg very much.